What's up, y'all, man? AP Top 25 football dropped yesterday. Got to get my reaction. I know it's Monday, but got to react to the news, the latest, the ranked teams, the unranked teams, and give my thoughts and analysis. Y'all know what time it is. Let's do it. All right, first off, I will say this. I did finally watch Texas this season, and without a doubt, they deserve that number one spot. Woo! Hey, man, that defense is something serious, bro. Good luck. I know everybody's saying, oh, is they ready for the SEC? Yada this, yada that. Hey, man, I'm going to tell y'all, Texas is the real deal, man. I really think they can get to a national championship this year. Quinn Ewers, or if it's Arch Manning, whoever it is. Texas got a squad, man. What they did to Oklahoma and how they made that true freshman look, who's pretty athletic, is going to have his ups and downs, but how they made him look out, man. I'm telling y'all, look out for Texas. They got some dogs. Isaiah Bond obviously got hurt in that game. But that Gunnar Helm, I like him at the wide receiver spot. Ryan Wingo had a nice long catch. Man, look out, man. Then they can run the rock as well. Hey, they look good. Now, Oregon, I think they answered the bell, man. They struggled early out the gate, right? Struggled against Idaho, Boise State right here. We see at number 15. But they was able to make enough plays, right? Credit to Dan Lanning. Sometimes them kind of play calls get you fired. But that's Dan Lanning, right? That's why his players relate to him so much. That's why his players want to play for him. You know, that's why his players will play through injury to play for him. You know what I'm saying? Because he believes in them and he's going to be aggressive. And we've seen that. And to beat a great Ohio State team, you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to make some chances. You're going to have to go against what you normally see or what you normally do. And Dan Lanning did that, man. So shout out to him. Dylan Gabriel, one of the best deep ball passers we have in the NCAA, had a spectacular performance. I talked about that when I reacted to it. Oregon looks like the real deal. And the crazy thing is, Tej Johnson didn't even have a great game. He did have a touchdown, 75 yards, but he wasn't even their main threat. I like what they could do in the ground game as well, but their running back, he was elite in that game. Watch out for Oregon, man. Oregon, unless they slip up, they look like a real team. They're like a real team. Now, Penn State, they struggled a little bit, right? They played USC. USC had them on the ropes, but shout out to them. Drew Aller, the defense, stepping up big in the key pivotal moments and coming out on top, man. Penn State gets 3. We'll see how long they can keep that. For Ohio State, you just had a blunder at the end with Will Howard, right? The OPI, obviously, against Jeremiah Smith. Like I said, he's young. He's going to learn. He's going to get better. And that's probably the worst thing he's done all season, right? He's been a spectacular player for you. So you'll take that all day. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's early on in the season, week 7, when they played up against Oregon. Ohio State will be better. They got to get more production out of Quinshon Judkins. He did not have a good game, but TreVeyon Henderson rushed pretty well, but got to get more out of your stud back. Nonetheless, they'll be better from it. They'll be all right. Now, Georgia, they're getting a lot of flack based off of what Kirby Smart did to Van Buren, who's the true freshman for Mississippi State. Him bumping into him and pushing him. Probably wasn't aware, man, but everybody's saying, well, hey, maybe there is a real culture problem. Maybe it starts from Kirby Smart. I'm not saying I agree. I'm just pointing out what people are saying. You know what I'm saying? Nonetheless, but Georgia did pick up a win this past week. They're going to play Texas. We'll dive more into the matchup later on in the week. But I thought that was interesting to point out as well. But Georgia continues to roll. Defense gave up a lot of points, but you'll take the dub. All right, Miami, bye week. Not too much to say there, man. Can't wait to see how they come out this week. We'll leave that there. All right, next up, you got, obviously, Alabama. Struggling, man. Struggling mightily. Struggled against South Carolina. Barely was able to pull that one out. They got a tough test, too. They got to play Tennessee. It's going to be interesting. Whoever loses that game, likely your college football playoff hopes are done. They are done. So we're going to see who comes out. I'll have more reactions to that later on in the week. But Bama, got to get it together, man. All right, and LSU, I tried to tell y'all, man. Now, like I said, Garrett Nussmeier did not have a great game, right? And I've already talked about that, lamented that. But I thought in the key pivotal moments, and what I've been asking about Ole Miss, can Jackson Dart make them key pivotal moments? I have not seen it. Garrett Nussmeier did enough. All they got to do now, it was with Mason Taylor. They run the game with Durham. They got to get their running game going. Only 80 yards in that game. And if they can hit the short, intermediate routes with Mason Taylor and some of those receivers, maybe even just the shallow crossers, they'll be fine. I think they put a little too much on Garrett Nussmeier. I'm not saying he can't handle it, but you don't always have to have shot plays. It's okay to be methodical. That's my only point out for them. But LSU looks good. They're my sleeper. Don't sleep on them in the SEC. I could see them knocking off a major team, a major contender. Don't sleep on LSU. Next, you got Ohio State. They had a good win. They beat West Virginia. Shout out to them, man. I'm going to try to pay more attention to them. Like I said, so many teams, so it's hard to know everybody, but I'm going to dive more into Iowa State, and learn more about their team. Now, 10, you got Clemson. Again, Clemson, I think they're a good team. Clay Klubnik's been playing good. But again, I want to see it against a formidable opponent. Have not seen it since that week 1 against Georgia. I'm going to wait. I'm going to hold out, but they do look good. True freshman is coming in there playing well. Sammy Brown, Brian Wesco's been doing this thing. They look like a well-oiled machine. I believe in Dabo, though. You know what I'm saying? I believe in Dabo, and they put it on Wake Forest. Just got to see it against a competent opponent. All right, next up, you got Tennessee. Tennessee struggled again, but it was able to pull it out. The defense held late, got a sack, and that changed everything. They tried to kick a field goal. That was it. Nico, obviously the crew, the running back, iced the game, shot to them. They got their work cut out this week, too. They got to play Bama. See how they respond on that one. Notre Dame's going to play Georgia Tech. I'm going to have a full breakdown of that game, give my thoughts, my analysis. I'll have everything on SI for that one. Y'all know I write for SI for Georgia Tech. So I will be having a full analysis on that one. All I'm going to say real quick, Notre Dame got Riley Leonard. Pretty good rushing attack. They did lose one of their top defensive backs today that's out for the season. Do not sleep on Georgia Tech. They're dealing with the injury bug too. Haynes King has an injury. We got to see what happens with that. Hopefully he gets to play because he's one of their best players. But nonetheless, man, that offensive line, if they could do what they've been doing the last couple of weeks, and they could push guys around, the Weston Franklins of the world, and some of those guys, look out. Because Georgia Tech ran for 371 yards. This team wants to run the ball. They can also throw it. Eric Singleton Jr., Malik Rutherford. They got dogs. Don't sleep on it. That's all I'm going to say there. All right, and then BYU continues to roll, man. Again, same team. Like, I have not seen them play a lot this year, so I'm not going to comment too much. Again, they in the late window, y'all. Like, I live on the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? These boys live all the way on the West Coast. Have not seen the games to know enough to say enough on a team. But I'm going to watch more Big 12 action, eventually see them play, and get my thoughts more on them. All right, so Texas A&M, they was on a bye week this past week after beating Missouri. Showed that they could be potentially a real deal as well. Them and LSU are going to play here pretty soon in a couple weeks. Can't wait to talk about that one. That's going to be a marquee matchup. Can't wait for it, man. Should be a lot of fun. All right, obviously, Boise State continue to roll. They look like they're going to potentially get that number 12 spot. Ashton Jeanty, man, he's a real deal, bro. Every game, he's having a big one. He's rushing for over 150 yards, a couple touchdowns. He's doing it every single game. He looks like the real deal. You got Indiana. They're going to face a true test this week. They got Nebraska. Don't sleep on Dylan Raiola. Don't sleep on that passing attack, that defensive front that's really, really, really good. Hey, man, they look like the real deal. Don't sleep on it. Big week coming up for Indiana. Nebraska is a formidable opponent. Don't sleep on it. All right, next up, Kansas State. Big win for Avery Johnson and crew, man. They barely snuck out of there with a win at Colorado. I think, man, I hate to be this person, but they had Travis Hunter Jr. I think that changes the game. They jumped out to an early 7-0 lead, nearly came back and fought back. Shout out to Colorado for doing that. They got some weapons. Colorado just let out their first conference loss. Don't sleep, though. I think it's going to be more upsets coming up in the Big 12. I think you're going to see multiple teams that have more than one loss when it comes to – you already got that now. But, when you look at the conference championship, it's definitely going to be a couple teams in there with a loss at least. Big 12, it's going to be bedlam. Don't sleep on it. But shout out to Avery Johnson, the running backs, DJ Giddens, who had a big game. They could not stop him. They put it on him. They look good. Next up, Ole Miss. We've already talked about it. I told y'all how I felt. Why I went with, obviously, Garrett Nussmeier. No offense to Jackson Dart, but when you got a team on the ropes, you got to close them out, bro. That's just what it comes down to. They did not do that at all. So, got to be better. I thought defense played well for the most part. But you got to capitalize. Your defense getting pressures. They getting turnovers, punts. You got to punch it in, man. That's what it comes down to. Not a good red zone offense in that game, and that's why they lost. 19, you got, obviously, Missouri. See how they're going to continue to rebound after that loss to Texas A&M. They got some big games coming up. How will they rebound? Luther Burden looked good in their recent one. How do they rebound after that? Brady Cook, they're going to need him to perform well. Next up, you got Pitt with Eli Holstein. He's having a magnificent true freshman year. He continues to look like the real deal on this one. Can't wait to see what he continues to do. I'm going to watch more Pittsburgh games as well coming up. SMU, right? They had the early wins. They beat Louisville. They look like they have a team with Preston Stone that could potentially be dangerous. 22, you got Illinois. Another pretty good team, man. Very defensive. Can run the ball well. Don't sleep on them. And then last but not least, these last three. Shout out to Army and obviously Navy. First time both of them are ranked in a very, very long time. Since the 60s. I don't want to say the raw date on here because y'all be coming from my head top. But since the 60s, first time both of those is ranked. And obviously Michigan at number 24. But y'all comment below y'all thoughts on the AP Top 25 poll. Did the writers across the country get this right? Let me know in the comments.